Hello everyone, so I'm going to show you how to do your value scale, and this scale is going to help you understand the concept of shadow from light to dark and where you need to put it on your painting, and also it's a learning technique to help you understand how you use your water and your paint and how much you can use for different colors and different shadows. So you can be able to paint realistically like this. Because as you're painting, you can tell as you look at the eye, there's different volumes of color. From light to dark, or 1 to say 5. Okay. So we're going to start here with your scale, and it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This is a basic one. I think sometimes it even need to go to 6, but we're going to start with 5 for right now. So I'm going to use a blank paper. Measure it out. You can use a ruler, but I'm going to be freehanding it because it's simple enough and there's no pressure on you. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and some rectangles going down. They don't necessarily have to be too big if you don't want them to. Okay. So these are our rectangles, scaled from 1 to 5. And what I'm going to be using is my handy dandy round brush. You can tell it's a round brush because how it's kind of pointy and round, right? And we're going to be using water, and I'm going to use paint here. I'm going to be using blue violet, and we have just a towel here to damp off the water if we need to. So my first one, I'm going to just use water, so it's just going to be 0. So I'm just kind of going over it with water. So this is how we just, this is a technique actually when dealing with watercolors, and it's called wet wash. So that's just nothing there, just 0. And it's just the wetting the paper itself. So my next one, I'm going to wet the paper as well. This one I'm going to add just a little bit of paint, and this is a really genuine wet wash because you don't need a lot on your brush when it comes to this. You're just kind of letting the water soak up all that paint. This is a genuine wet wash as well. Even do more, I'm going to take a napkin or a tissue. I'm going to damp this out, rub it off. This is also a watercolor technique. and it's called lifting. It's called lifting. So the color is barely there. So that's your second scale. Now, again, I'm going to wet the paper. I'm going to add just a little more. And this time, I don't think I'm going to lift the painting off, the paint off. Just gonna let it sit there. Sit there. I'm going to make sure it's a little more darker. Okay. Because as we go along, it's going to be darker. So that's a little bit too dark for me. I'm going to save that color for over here. Or maybe not, you know. We're learning as we go along. You're not going to get it perfect the first time. So I think, however, I like this color. I like how this is. It's a little grade higher than the other one on the side here. Maybe a little damping. Okay, that's it. This again. In some instances, you don't have to wet the paper. Most of the times I don't do that with my painting because I need more control. And sometimes if you put water on there, you can't control it, can't control the paint as much as you want. You kind of have to let it do its thing. But the less water I fill, the more control I have over it. Side. It's okay to do that too. Don't put too much pressure on you as you're doing this. It's painting. It's supposed to be enjoyed and relaxed. Okay? So now that we're over here, I'm not going to I'm not going to wet my board this time. I'm going to show you guys how that's going to look. So I'm just going straight from my paint, straight to the board. It's almost the same thing. But now, because you don't really need a lot of this paint to have something happen, you know? Especially when it comes to watercolors, you don't need a lot. That's why I like the medium, because it's so gentle and transparent. You don't need a lot. Just add water to it, which I'm going to do here, and it'll help spread the paint along. It's almost the same, right? So now I'm going to just add some more paint to it. Our value scale. is going to be used for shadowing, obviously, right? Because it's darker. That's good. That's a good. I like how that looks. That looks like a good scale. All right. So that's our value scale from 1 to 5. Nothing, just a little bit more, and a bunch. All right. So that's how that's how you're gonna do it. Easy peasy. Okay. All right.